I forgot to turn my stage lights on, so it looks all mellow. The cat on my t-shirt looks very dramatic. By the way, when I wear two cat t-shirts in a row, that usually just means it's time to wash my clothes. Anyway, much love to my meditation tribe. Today we're looking at the 119th element called the element of surprise. Surprisium is its name, and we're looking at the willingness to be pleasantly surprised by life. So nice deep breath together. So we're looking to stir up our faith and our expectations and our deep trust in the goodness of being. Welcome if you're live streaming in, welcome for Zoomers, welcome for everybody. It doesn't matter how you got here, it just matters that we're here now. I do believe one of the reasons we meditate as humans is that if you're anything like me, there's a deep habit of extrapolating forward into the future and wondering how it's going to turn out, or there's a rummaging around in the past and wondering why that happened or regret or something, and we just have to we just have to bloody get over that and learn how to live in the moment, the bliss, the presence of being that's right here right now. And we can do that, and we are doing that. Every day we add a little more presence and we dissolve a little more of the disturbance. So today's little prayer, affirmation, invocation, intention, God, love, source, infinite higher organizing principle. I was in a spiritual meeting the other night, and a very young gal referred to God as the infinite whatever, or the higher whatever. That's what she called it. God doesn't care what we call it, her, he, him, she. It just loves. And today's prayer is teach us to trust and to be in this very moment where life actually is. Amen. And we'll chant an Om together. Inhale. Feel that. Let that cosmic elixir of presence spread from head to toes through your body. And find your breath somewhere inside of your body. Feel where you most feel where your breath is. Do you feel it in your nose? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your chest? Where do you feel your breath? And just follow that into yourself. Oh, Looney Bin says good morning to everybody. Our beautiful pets teach us a lot about life, don't they? They're God's angels sent to teach us to be present and to appreciate. And they teach us a lot in their presence and then in their absence, but they're always opening our heart. Cats teach us how to meditate. Dogs teach us how to be grateful. Dogs have owners. Cats have staff. Okay, now 1 minute of breathing into our belly and feeling whatever we're feeling this day. Every day has its weather, doesn't it? Even in San Diego, it might rain. Even in Seattle, it might be hot and sunny. What's today's weather, climate weather inside of your soul, emotional weather? Good. So we've primed the meditation pump, as it were, and we'll chant Om one more time and we'll dive deep for 20 minutes. Inhale. Okay, peace be with you. Okay, begin to come back. Enjoy the afterglow. That nice blending of soul and spirit, small self with big self. Okay, open your eyes a little bit. Blinkety blink. Welcome back. I'm not sure that it's Shakespeare who originally coined the phrase, but he does use the phrase mortal coil in his writings. Mortal coil. It's an interesting archetype, isn't it? Coil, spring, spiral. I've always, for some reason, intuitively been inspired by the archetype, the symbol of the spiral. It's the name of my yoga business, Upward Spiral Yoga. To know an upward spiral, the only way to truly understand an upward spiral is to understand a downward spiral. And I suspect if you're one of the souls listening to this, you know what a downward spiral is like. You know what it feels like. It's not conceptual. It's something that you've actually been through. The times when it was bad and it was getting worse, and no matter what you seemed to do, nothing seemed to help. And I guess we might call that the downward spiral of our mortal coil. It seems as though our humanity. Here's another metaphor for that. Jacob's ladder. You know, it's the transit between heaven and earth. And in our mortality, there can be a downward spiral. We might call it the fall of man, or we might call it descending that ladder. But by principle, the ladder and the spiral must, of course, go upward. Now, yesterday I talked about the new element they discovered, the 119th element, called the element of surprise, surprisium, where we're actually surprised by existence. And I believe in my own experience that in order to move from a downward spiral of existence to an upward spiral of existence, it's an active thing that we do inside of ourselves. In other words, we, with our own free will, either activate the movement of our consciousness upward, or we activate the continued movement of our consciousness downward. But one way or the other, it's either going up or it's going down. There's no, consciousness is never static, at least not mortal consciousness. It's always moving. And by looking into the world, it's probably not hard to identify people who are stuck in some very, very nasty downward spirals. It's also evident, although perhaps a little more rare, to find those who are very much fixed in upward spiral. What might be the characteristics of an upward spiral existence? There's a predominance of love, of mission, of purpose, of joy, of enthusiasm, of anticipation, of gratitude, of health, of peace. These, of course, would be the characteristics of an upward spiral. The characteristics of a downward spiral, I probably don't need to flesh those out. But when we're in a downward spiral, whether it's a big one or a small one, perhaps one of the greatest temptations, there are temptations in this world, right? I only need to name the 7 deadly sins, but oftentimes the unmentioned temptations are the temptations to be discouraged, downcast, depressed, and resigned. Discouraged, downcast, depressed, and resigned. And those are the earmarks of a soul caught in a downward spiral. And if we give way to that sort of temptation, then there's no limit to how far down the downward spiral can go. In the same way, there's no limit to how high, how up it can go. So it's really our own sole choice as to whether we're going to go up or down. And that's difficult sometimes when we feel the gravity, we feel the weight of the past and consequences and the traumas and the wounds and all that stuff. And yet it doesn't relieve us of the duty to stir up our faith and to be willing to utilize the element of surprisium and say, God, surprise me with your grace and your glory and your mercy. I trust that no matter what I see, I'm not seeing the entire picture. And then we exercise that faculty of going up and getting into that endless upward spiral. When we do that enough, we shall reach a tipping point sooner or later that tips upward, and it will be an endless sweep upward. Right now, on this plane of existence, we're probably on that teeter-totter, that fine line between those going up or down, Jacob's ladder, so to speak. So let's commit with faith, with calm, with courage, with patience to counteract any temptation to be depressed, downcast, discouraged, or resigned, and turn it upward with faith and a positive sense of expectancy. That's what Looney teaches me to do on a daily basis. And it's what I hope we all might learn in order that we might enjoy the joy of living. I'll see you guys tomorrow.